The contract was ready. Just one final signature. But when she walked in with the tray of coffee, time cracked open. He didn't fully recognize her, but those eyes were the same ones that had looked at him once, on a night he thought he'd forgotten. It was Tuesday, just another day at the glass tower where deals were signed and fortunes were made. Kerem Yilmaz had arrived on time. As always, light blue shirt, Swiss watch, sharp gaze. The contract on the table was just another acquisition, a crumbling hotel, mountains of debt, broken management, just numbers to him. Another trophy. I reviewed everything, his assistant said. We just need one last signature from her. Her, he asked, not even looking up. The waitress, daughter of one of the former owners. I think Kerem sighed. Details didn't interest him. The door opened. A woman entered, hair tied back, wearing a dark apron. No makeup, no rush, but her eyes stopped him cold. She looked at him too, briefly, as if confirming something in silence. Kerem lowered his gaze. Something tightened in his chest. Would you like sugar? She asked softly, her voice trembling slightly. Do I know you? He blurted out, without thinking. His assistant looked at him, surprised. The woman didn't answer. She simply placed the coffee before him. But as she turned to leave, a small photo slipped from her pocket. It landed face down. He picked it up out of instinct, turned it over. A little boy, light brown hair, crooked smile, and the same eyes Kerem had at age 6. His face went pale. She turned slowly, her eyes filled with quiet pain. I'm not here to interrupt anything, she said. I'm just serving coffee. Who is this boy? He asked, standing up. None of your business, she replied calmly. You forgot him years ago, just like you forgot me. Silence thickened the air. Kerem kept staring at the photo. What's your name? Doesn't matter, she whispered. Just sign. That's all you care about, right? And she walked away. Kerem looked at the photo again. He couldn't stop staring. On the back, a date was written in pencil. Born October 23rd. Ayaz Yilmaz. The contract no longer mattered, because that last name was his. Kerem didn't sign. He couldn't, because now he wasn't dealing with numbers. He was facing a name, a child with his eyes, and his last name, one he never gave. The room fell silent. Kerem's assistant tried to ease the tension, closing the folder. Shall we sign, Mr. Yilmaz? He said nothing. The photo burned in his hand. His fingers trembled, the feeling foreign to him. But there it was, Ayaz Yilmaz. The name wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. She wanted him to see it. Kerem left the room without a word, rushed to the lobby, looking for her, and found her, walking out of the building, apron folded under her arm, eyes focused straight ahead. Wait, he called out, his voice urgent, something he hadn't felt in years. She stopped, didn't look back, but waited. That boy, is he mine? She took a deep breath, still not turning. I didn't come looking for anything. I don't need anything from you. That doesn't answer my question. Neither did you when I needed you most. Finally, she turned. Her eyes were filled with restrained fury and exhaustion. Kerem had never felt guilt like that from just a look. Why didn't you tell me? I did. I sent a letter, 6 years ago, to your office. I never saw it. It was returned, unopened. His world, once orderly and cold, began to crack. Where is he now? Home, with his grandmother. Don't worry, he doesn't carry your name legally. I just wrote it out of habit. Kerem took a step closer. She took one back. I want to see him. Why now? Because, if he's my son, I want to know. And if he's not, I want to know why you made me believe he is. She stared into him. Fine, Mr. Billionaire. You want the truth? Come tomorrow, but don't bring suits, lawyers, or assistants. Then how should I come? As a father, if you can. And she walked away. That night, Kerem didn't sleep. He opened an old drawer, searched, and found it. An unopened letter from years ago, addressed in handwriting he recognized. Hande. Kerem had closed $1 million deals, traveled the world, and faced betrayals. but nothing terrified him more than standing in front of that door, because behind it was a child with his blood, and maybe his forgiveness. The morning was gray. Kerem dressed in whatever he found first. No tie, no watch, no assistant, just him, and the unopened letter from the night before. He stood in front of a modest house, wooden walls, flower pots, scattered toys in the garden, nothing fancy, nothing bearing his name, except what was beating inside. He rang the doorbell. An older woman opened. "Yes, I'm Kerem Yilmaz. I came to see Hande." She looked him up and down. "Didn't invite him in. She's at work. She said you might come. May I?" Before he could finish, a little voice interrupted. "Grandma." A boy around 6 came running, wearing a blue t-shirt and holding a stuffed dinosaur. He stopped when he saw the stranger at the door. Kerem's eyes locked on his dot. It was like looking in a mirror. Same eyes, same forehead, even the way he stood. "Who's he?" the boy asked. The grandmother looked at Kerem with a quiet judgment. "A friend of Mommy's." Kerem forced a smile. "Hey champ, are you the boss who won't let Mom come home early?" the boy asked. Straight to the point. Kerem blinked, caught off guard. "No, I just came to say hi. Do you know how to play chess?" "A little." "Then come in. Grandma cheats." Kerem laughed for the first time in years and walked in. The boy showed him the drawings on the wall: a rocket ship, a world map, a photo with his mom, and a family tree drawn in crayon. At the top, Mom, Hande, Dad. Kerem stared at that symbol, a blank space he had unknowingly left behind. "Did you know my dad?" Ayaz asked. Kerem swallowed hard. "No, but I think I'm about to meet him." "Do you have this mole too?" the boy asked, pointing to his cheek. Kerem touched his face. Same mole, same spot. The silence that followed was heavy. This time, not awkward but sacred. An hour later, Hande walked in quietly. She froze. Kerem was asleep on the couch. Ayaz lay on his chest, fast asleep, and the family tree was no longer incomplete. Ayaz had corrected it with crayon. "Dad, Kerem." Hande found him asleep, with her son on his chest. An image she never thought she'd see, and yet, that one that hurt the most. Because looking wasn't enough anymore. Not after all these years. She didn't make a sound. She stood at the doorway, frozen. Kerem lay on the worn-out couch, arms wrapped around Ayaz, both of them fast asleep. The scene was beautiful, painful, unreal. She stayed still, as if moving would shatter it. But the pain in her chest was louder than nostalgia. She stepped forward. Kerem opened his eyes just before she spoke. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was low, but firm. He looked around, confused. "I didn't want to wake him." "You already did, 6 years ago." Kerem sat up gently, letting I remain asleep. "I didn't know." "You never knew anything, Kerem. Not when I left. Not why. Because you didn't care." He rubbed his face, visibly exhausted. "I did care. I always did. Before or after you bought my father's hotel." Silence. "I didn't. No, I swear. My father handled everything, and I was left with ruins, with the shame, with a son who wrote your last name in crayon, not knowing if he'd ever meet you." Kerem stood, took a step closer. "I want to be here now." "For how long?" "Until he falls asleep. Until you get bored. Until your perfect little world calls you back." "Hande." "No." She cut him off, voice cracking. "Don't say my name unless you plan to stay." He didn't know what to say. Just looked at her, as if really seeing her for the first time. She wiped a tear, spoke calmly. "Tomorrow, Ayaz has a performance at school. He'll play a song on a squeaky flute and he'll mess it up, and you'll decide if you want to watch it or disappear again." She walked into the kitchen, leaving Kerem alone in the room with the sound of his son's quiet breathing and the echo of everything he hadn't been. In his pocket, the letter from Hande still sat unopened. That night, he finally read it, and with each word she had written 6 years ago, something inside him broke, because she had reached out, she had tried, and he never answered. For the first time in his life, the billionaire arrived on time, not to a meeting, but to a school filled with tiny chairs and nervous parents holding flowers, because today wasn't about business. Today, His son was playing a song, and for once, he didn't want to miss it. Kerem had never been to a kindergarten. The bright walls, crayon drawings on windows, and impossible little chairs made him feel completely out of place. But there he was, no suit, no assistant, no escape plan, just him and a small flower he bought from a street vendor. On the grandmother's suggestion, he stood in line among parents. "First-timer?" asked a woman beside him. "Very," he replied, almost smiling. The principal called out, "Names Ayaz Karaka, any companion?" Kerem raised his hand. "Here, great. You'll find him in room to be for warm-up." Then moved to the auditorium. He walked down the hall awkwardly, unfamiliar with this world. When he opened the door, there was Ayaz, sitting alone, holding a flute, wearing a wrinkled white shirt, looking worried. "Dad." Kerem's heart thudded. "Ready for your concert." "I forgot how the song starts," Ayaz whispered, frustrated. Kerem knelt down in front of him. "It doesn't matter how it starts. What matters is that you keep going." Ayaz stared at him, then nodded. Minutes later, the auditorium was full. Kerem sat in the front row, flower in hand. Hande walked in quietly, surprised to see him. More surprised to see he was alone, and holding the flower. The performance began. Ayaz blew into the flute nervously. He made a mistake, paused, froze. His eyes searched the crowd until he saw Kerem, holding up a thumbs up. "Go, champ." Ayaz smiled and tried again. This time, he played through. No one clapped louder than Kerem when it ended. Hande watched him, her eyes full of disbelief and fear. Outside, while the kids played, Hande approached. "I didn't think you'd come." "Neither did I, not until I read the letter." "What did it say?" Kerem looked down. "It said I let him be born alone, but that I still had a chance to be part of his story." Hande was silent. Tears welled up quietly. "Kerem, can I try?" he asked. "Not for me, for him, for what he deserves." She looked at him broken and whole all at once. "He already loves you. Just don't disappoint him." Kerem nodded. "I won't." But just as he walked to his car, his phone rang. "Mr. Yilmaz, we have a problem with the hotel deal. Someone's blocking the operation. He claims to have evidence of illegal actions committed by your father." Kerem froze. Because if it was true, not only could he lose everything, he could lose the one thing he had just begun to find, his son. Absolutely. Here's the next chapter. He thought the past was dead, but it had only been sleeping, waiting for the perfect moment to destroy everything. And just as Kerem was learning to be a father, the name Yilmaz began to rot again. But this time, it wasn't just a scandal. It was betrayal, buried under paperwork and silence. Kerem climbed into the car without answering the call. His chest was tight. "Who's blocking the deal?" he asked. "A man named Ferhat Güner. He claims he used to work for your father. Says he has documents, and he won't let the hotel transfer go through until you see what really happened." Kerem hung up. His heart beat slow and heavy. He remembered Halat, Yilmaz's father. Powerful, ruthless, secretive. When Kerem was only 25, his father made all the decisions. Kerem just signed what he was told. Never asked questions. Until now. That night, he didn't go home. He went to his father's old office. No one had stepped foot there since Halat died. Dust clung to every surface. Leather and old paper filled the air. Kerem turned on the desk lamp, opened drawers, searched. And then he found a yellowed envelope with a note in his father's handwriting. "Everything we destroy, we also inherit." Inside, papers, property transfers, and a letter from Hande's father, addressed to Halat. "Please reconsider the foreclosure. We can't pay yet, but my daughter is ill. My wife has died. I can't lose the hotel too. It's all we have left of her." Kerem read it again. His chest ached. His father had never mentioned this because the hotel wasn't just a failing business. It was a home, a memory, a love story destroyed. And Kerem had been part of it without ever knowing. The next morning, Kerem went to find Ferhat. An older man received him in a modest law office. "Did you come to deny it or to face it?" "I came to listen." Ferhat slid a folder across the desk. "Your father altered the dates. He forced the foreclosure right after Hande's mother died. The family didn't owe anything. They just needed time. Why didn't you report this? I was scared. And I was part of it. Kerem closed his eyes. What do you want? Justice. For that woman. For her son, and for you. Because you're not your father, are you? Kerem said nothing. He just took the folder and left. That evening, he knocked on Hande's door. She opened, surprised. He held no flowers, no apologies, just truth. I have something to show you. She read every word, didn't speak, didn't cry. When she finished, she looked at him. Your father took everything from us, and you just gave it back. Kerem shook his head. No, I'm just beginning to understand what I helped destroy. She didn't look at him with hate anymore, but not with tenderness either. So what now? She asked. I don't know, but for the first time, I want to do what's right, no matter the cost. But when Kerem returned to his company that night, 2 lawyers were waiting at his desk. Mr. Yilmaz, the case against your father has been reopened, and as the current legal representative of the Yilmaz estate, you're the first to be investigated. Kerem was left alone. Ayaz's photo still sat on his desk, and for the first time, he wondered if he could protect him at all. The press doesn't forgive, partners run, and the last name that once opened every door now threatened to bury him. While the world judged him, only one pair of eyes still saw the man, not the scandal. And those eyes belonged to her. Kerem arrived at the office too early, but not to work. To prepare. Overnight, the headlines had spread like wildfire. The dirty legacy of Halit Yilmaz. Did his son know? The Karaka Hotel, stolen by the elite. Journalists waited outside the building. Flashes, microphones, questions. Kerem walked past them silently. Inside, emails piled up. Cancelled meetings, frozen accounts, investors withdrawing, and amid it all, a message from his lawyer. The board is suggesting you step down until the audit ends. It might be your only way to salvage your name. If you still want to. He shut the screen off, rested his elbows on the desk, took a deep breath. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what to do. Hours later, he sat by the sea, alone, watching the water, hoping for answers. Hande found him there. She had texted him. He hadn't replied, but she came anyway. Are you okay? No. Do you want to talk? I don't know how. She sat beside him, didn't say a word, and in that silence, he found more comfort than in all the boardrooms he had ever conquered. I'm losing everything, everything. My reputation, my company, my name. She looked at him. And your son. He turned toward her. He's the only thing I don't want to lose. Then start with him. How? By being the man your father never was. That evening Kerem went to pick up Ayaz from school. No chauffeur, no suit, just him. Want some ice cream? Do you know which one I like? No, but I'd love to find out. Ayaz smiled. And for the first time Kerem felt like just a dad. But across the street, inside a dark car, a man watched them. He raised a camera, clicked a photo, sent a message, confirmed. The boy is his. We begin proceedings tomorrow. Because not all enemies were in the past, and some wanted to use Ayaz as the ultimate weapon. Here is the next chapter of your story. The world looked at him with suspicion, but now, someone was watching with ambition, because if the child was his, then so was his last name. And all the value it carried. But what no one expected was that Hande would be willing to lose everything, everything, except her son. The next morning, a letter arrived at Hande's house. Cold, official, precise request for legal recognition of paternity. Potential shared custody process initiated, filed by the Yilmaz family legal team. She read it once, then again, her hands trembled. This wasn't what Kerem had promised. He had said he only wanted to be present, not to take. She dialed his number. What did you do? What are you talking about? Are you suing me? Silence. No, I swear I'm not. Then who? Kerem felt the blood drain from his face. He hung up, called his lawyer immediately, who filed the paternity lawsuit. Not you, not me. It was submitted from inside your corporate legal department. Your uncle Semel. He claims that if the boy is legally yours, He can use that status to block the transfer of personal assets during the investigation. He's calling it a family protection measure. Kerem clenched his jaw. He's not family. Not to me. That afternoon, Kerem went to Hande's home. She answered with red eyes and clenched fists. What's going to happen now? Nothing. If you let me fix it. I don't trust your name, Kerem. Then trust me. And if you can't protect us, then I'll stay. Even if there's nothing left to protect. Kerem stormed into his uncle's office. Samuel sat calmly, reading the newspaper. Why are you doing this? Do you really think you can carry that last name and act like someone else? Ayaz is my son. He's a liability, one that makes you weak. No, uncle, he's the only thing that makes me human. Samuel chuckled darkly. We'll see how long that humanity lasts. When they use him against you. That night, Hande packed a small suitcase. You're leaving, her mother asked. We're leaving where? Somewhere they can't use my son as leverage. Somewhere the name Yilmaz doesn't reach. But at the door, Ayaz stopped her. And Dad, Hande swallowed hard. I don't know, baby. So, you're going to hide me from him too? Meanwhile, Kerem received another envelope. This one wasn't from his family. It contained a DNA test and a note. Now that we know the truth, he can be claimed, and if you don't cooperate, you might lose him. The firm on the envelope was foreign. The sender wasn't his uncle, which could only mean one thing. Someone else wanted his son too. Blood isn't enough. Not even a last name is enough, because being a father means choosing to stay, even when everything pushes you to run. And now, Kerem had to decide, fight for his son, or let someone else be called Dad. Kerem held the envelope for a long time. He didn't need to open it. He already knew the DNA test wouldn't lie. Ayaz was his. But it wasn't the test that shook him. It was the note. Now that we know the truth, he can be claimed. Who was he? Who wanted to claim Ayaz? And with what right? He called his lawyer at once. I need to know who's behind this. It's not your uncle. I checked. The request came from an international firm. They're representing a man named Mehmet Aslan. Who is he? According to records, he was in a relationship with Hande 4 years ago, and he's filing to be recognized as a paternal figure. Kerem went still. His chest tightened. Meanwhile, at Hande's house, did you ever tell Mehmet he wasn't Ayaz's father? Her mother asked. I never said he was. But I didn't say he wasn't either. And now he says he can give Ayaz a quiet life. No cameras, no scandals, no broken name. And what do you believe? Hande looked down. If Kerem had left again, maybe I would have clung to Mehmet. But Kerem didn't leave. Not this time. Kerem showed up unannounced. No flowers, just fear. Hande opened the door. Ayaz was asleep. Do you know who Mehmet is? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't think you'd find out. He wants to take my son. He cared for him when you didn't. When I couldn't do it alone. Did you let him call himself Dad? Hande paused. Breathed deeply. No, never. But when Ayaz fell down, Mehmet was the one who picked him up. Not you. The words stabbed deeper. Then she knew. Is he going to fight for custody? Yes. And you? I'll do whatever it takes. So Ayaz doesn't grow up confused. Kerem took a step forward. Then let me fight too. Not out of pride. Not for the name. But for who I am now, and for who I want to be in his life. Days later, Kerem sat in a private room. Across from him, Mehmet Aslan.elegant.com/sharp. I didn't come to fight, Mehmet said. I came to protect. Protect him from what? From your world. And who decides what's best for Ayaz? Mehmet met his eyes. He does. That night, Hande sat beside her son. Ayaz, who's your dad? He didn't hesitate, Kerem, because he listens to me, and when I make mistakes, he doesn't yell. Hande hugged him tightly. She knew then the decision was already made. The next morning, outside the courthouse, Mehmet waited for Kerem. He's yours, he said. What? Ayaz, I raised him when you weren't around, but now, he's chosen you. Kerem was speechless. And you? I just needed to know you wouldn't break him. And then Mehmet walked away, leaving Kerem alone. But for the first time, he didn't feel alone, because beside him, Ayaz held his hand tightly. Some promises aren't spoken, they're shown. And sometimes, breaking a promise you never said out loud hurts more than any lie. Kerem was beginning to become a father, but once again, his last name tempted him, with the only thing it had ever known, power. And this time, he could win it all, or lose everything. Kerem and Ayaz played in the park like two kids. Kerem, in a rolled-up shirt, was kneeling in the dirt. Ayaz, face sticky with ice cream, laughed with abandon. It was a simple afternoon. One hand watched from a distance, quietly, etching it into her memory. Because for the first time, her son looked truly happy with his father. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Ayaz asked. "Of course, champ. We can come back every day." But Kerem hesitated, and Ayaz noticed. That night, Kerem received a call. It was his former business partner from London. "I have an offer. Clean, legal. We can rebuild your name from the ground up. New company. No Yilmaz's name. Just Kerem. But you need to be here." By Monday, Kerem was quiet. "What's wrong?" "I have a son now. That changes nothing. This is for him too, so he doesn't inherit your shame." Kerem hung up. He opened Ayaz's drawer and pulled out a crumpled drawing. It showed the three of them, Kerem, Hande, and Ayaz, holding hands in front of a house with flowers. No words, but it said everything. The next morning, Kerem took Ayaz to school. On the way, they talked about superheroes and dinosaurs, but Kerem wasn't really listening. His mind was split. London, Istanbul. When they arrived, Ayaz hesitated. "What's wrong, champ? Are you going to leave again?" "What do you mean?" "Like before, when Mom cried alone and you never called. Is it going to happen again?" Kerem felt his chest tighten. "No, I'm here." "But you didn't pack your suitcase." Kerem froze. "Why do you say that?" "Because last night, I heard someone offer you a new life, and you didn't say no." Ayaz lowered his eyes. "And if you go, I won't cry this time." He walked into school, without looking back. Kerem stood there, crushed. That evening, at Hande's house. "Are you leaving?" she asked. "They offered me a chance to clear my name, without dragging you or Ayaz through it. And what name will you have left if you lose him? What if staying ruins him too?" She looked at him, tired but clear-eyed. "Then choose, not us. Choose yourself. But the version of you that you are now. What if I don't know who that is yet? Your son does." That night Kerem packed a small suitcase, clothes, papers, his father's old letter, Ayaz's crayon drawing. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his passport, then noticed a folded note left on the pillow, written in a child's handwriting. "Dad, if you leave, I won't stop you. But if you stay, I'll never let you go again." Monday morning, in London, his partner waited at the airport. But Kerem never arrived. Instead, back in Istanbul outside the school gates, Ayaz came running out, and there he was. Kerem. Waiting. "Did you leave?" "No." "Why?" Kerem lifted him into his arms. "Because you chose me first. Now it's my turn to stay. Not all pain comes with tears. Sometimes, the pain hides in silence, and that's what Ayaz did. He didn't cry when he thought his father would leave. He didn't shout. He didn't break. He just closed his heart, and that hurt Kerem more than any tear ever could. The morning was cold. Kerem arrived at the school with a small box of supplies, books, crayons, and toys to donate. It was a small gesture, but a real one, a sign that he was truly starting over. No titles, no last name, just effort. Hande waited for him at the gate. "You came?" "Yes, on time." She gave a half smile, touched with irony. Being late to a child's life hurts more than not showing up at all. "I know. Have you made your decision?" "Yes, I'm staying, but not as the old Kerem." "Exactly." She studied his face, searching for signs of doubt. "And the price?" "I'm paying it right now." Later that day, Kerem visited his father's former law firm. He requested to legally give up all undisclosed funds, hidden properties, and inheritance not earned through honest means. "Are you sure, Mr. Yilmaz? You could walk out of here with almost nothing." "Not with nothing. I have a son, and with him, I already have everything." He signed the papers. And with every signature, A piece of his old life dissolved. That night, he had a surprise for Ayaz. He had rented a small house, just a few blocks from the park Ayaz loved. One room was already decorated for him, books on shelves, glowing stars on the ceiling, and a wooden desk with his name carved into it. Do you like it? Ayaz looked around, cautious. Are we going to live here? If you want to, or when your mom says it's okay. The boy didn't answer. He sat on the bed, hugged his stuffed dinosaur Dot, and without looking at Kerem whispered, "If you leave again, I won't say goodbye." Kerem felt his chest tighten. "I'm not going anywhere." "That's what you said last time. What can I do to make you believe me?" Ayaz finally looked up. His eyes were glossy, but no tears fell. "Stay when it's hard. Stay when I mess up. Stay. Even if I don't say I love you." Kerem knelt down, eye to eye. "I don't need you to say it. I already know." He reached out and gently hugged his son. "And I love you too, Ayaz, even if I'm still learning how." Half an hour later, Hande arrived. She found them both asleep, Ayaz curled into Kerem's chest. The room peaceful. Dot on the table beside them. A new drawing, a small house, 2 trees, and 3 names written underneath. Kerem, Hande, Ayaz. Bit outside, on the street, someone watched from a parked car. They snapped a photo of the house and texted it to a familiar number. "They're living together. We can use this to challenge custody." Council of Semolil Musbekas. Even though Kerem had changed, his name still had enemies, and they hadn't forgotten. Sometimes, what looks like ruins is simply waiting for someone to believe in it again, like the hotel, like her, like him, and like that last name, which, finally, might mean something more than pain. Kerem sat in his car, parked in front of a forgotten building. The old Hotel Caracas, faded paint, broken windows, cracked stone, but still standing. Hande arrived, a folder under her arm, and a storm of memories in her eyes. "Why are we here?" "I want to rebuild it," she said. "The hotel, our story." Kerem looked at Ercel. "This isn't just a building, Kerem. This is where I fell in love, where I cried, where I learned I was alone, and where Ayaz was born." Room 204. Kerem swallowed hard. "And what part do I play in this reconstruction?" She looked at him directly. "Whatever part you choose. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for hands, time, soul." He nodded. No words. Just a look that said everything. 4 days. They worked side by side. Dust paint scrubbing old floors. Ayaz came after school with his crayons and imagination. "This will be my room," he said. "And here, a coffee shop for Mom. And here, an office for you." Kerem smiled. He didn't know if they would ever live there, but they were rebuilding something far more important. One afternoon, Ayaz discovered an old wooden box behind the front desk. "Mom, Dad, look." Inside, old photos, letters, business documents, and one envelope, sealed and yellowed by time. The handwriting was unmistakable, Kerem, for when you finally learned the truth, it was his father's writing. Kerem hesitated. Hande touched his arm. "Read it." He opened the letter. "Son, if you're reading this, then you finally know. I never told you she was expecting your child, not because I didn't know, but because I thought it would destroy you. I didn't want you to repeat my mistakes, but I ended up making you commit yours. Forgive me, and do what I never did. Stay." Kerem sat in silence. Hande hugged him gently. Ayaz didn't understand the details, but he knew something important had just happened, and that, maybe for the first time, his family was whole. Weeks later, the hotel opened, not luxurious, but full of life. And with a new name carved into the front, Hotel Ayaz. At the grand opening, Kerem cut the ribbon beside Hande, and their son. Neighbors, friends, and even journalists watched. But Kerem only saw one thing: the pride in Ayaz's eyes, the peace in Hande's smile, and the feeling that, finally, his last name meant more than wealth. It meant home. That night, before bed, Ayaz asked, "You're not leaving again, are you?" Kerem smiled. "No, son. Even if they offer you a bigger hotel." Kerem hugged him tightly. "There is no bigger hotel than this one." "Why not?" Because this is where I became a father. Here is the final episode of your story. Sometimes, the name we're born with becomes a burden. But when we fight for it, when we redefine it, that name can become a legacy. Kerem had lost money, status, power. But what he found instead was something no empire could buy. And this time, it wasn't about what he inherited. It was about what he chose to leave behind. The Hotel Ayaz was fully open now, not polished, not flashy, but full of stories, full of warmth. Kerem served tea in the lobby with rolled-up sleeves. Hande handled bookings at the front desk with a quiet grace. Ayaz ran between tables, pretending to be the manager. Dad, there's someone at the door. Tell them we're sold out. Kerem laughed. Hande watched them, her heart full, her eyes tired but peaceful. This wasn't the life she had imagined, but it was the one she had built. And that made all the difference. One afternoon, A came home from school, holding a sheet of paper. Dad, I have to do a school project about our last names. Can you help me? Kerem looked at the assignment. Explain your last name and what it means to you. He kneeled down. So, what name are you going to use? Ayaz looked up. I want to use both. Because Mom raised me, and you chose me. So I want to carry both of you. Kerem blinked back emotion. He hugged his son tightly. Then Karakilemas. It is, on presentation day, Ayaz stood proudly in front of his class. His voice steady, his words clear. My last name is Karakiel, Maz. It means I come from two stories. One that taught me how to be brave when I was scared, and one that showed me how to love when I thought it was too late. I have my mom's name because she never gave up on me, and my dad's, because he chose me, even when he didn't have to. Hande wiped away tears in the back row. Kerem looked at her, then at their son. And in that moment, he knew he hadn't lost his legacy. He had rewritten it. A new photo on the hotel lobby wall. The three of them standing under the Hotel A sign. Arms around each other, smiling. Below the photo, a hand-lettered note, written in Ayaz's handwriting. Family isn't what you're given. It's what you choose to build. The end. Thank you for taking this journey with them.